Get Home to Houston, today at 4 on 7.
Philip, hello, darling.
Mr. and Mrs. Sordo, Todd's parents?
Yes.
Yeah, you better come with me quick. He's beating his head against the wall.
Oh, no.
And he's screaming like he's really hurting himself, and the matron is scared, does not know what to do. Let's go this way.
Philip, this is exactly why we have come to court. Todd will never be able to function normally. You're ruining your own life, throwing it away. You'll be a nothing, a has-been, and that child will still be banging his head against the wall.
I'm Judge Robert J. Franklin. I chose the law as my way of serving my fellow citizens. As an elected judge in the family court, I pray each day that God will give me the wisdom to always temper justice with mercy.
What you're about to see is a dramatization of an actual case in family court. Because of the emotional and sensitive nature of the issues presented here, Judge Franklin's courtroom is closed to the public. The proceedings are about to begin.
This court is now in session. The Honorable Robert J. Franklin presiding. Raise your right hands. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Be seated, please. Miss Page, let's begin.
Your Honor, Mrs. Renee Sordo is petitioning for custody of her grandson, Todd Sordo, age 3. Contesting this action are Todd's parents, Philip and Ann Sordo. Also present are Dr. Marcia Feldman for the plaintiff and Mr. Roger Lindstrom for the defense.
Thank you, Miss Page. I'll listen to your opening statement, Mr. Enright.
Thank you, Your Honor. Renee Sordo's grandson, Todd, is afflicted with autism, a disease which has no known cause and no definite cure, but which is treatable by proven and tested methods. Now, Mrs. Sordo wants to provide the schooling and therapy that Todd needs. In autism, early treatment is critical. But her son and daughter-in-law have embarked upon a program based on highly unorthodox theories which not only provide a measurable setback to Todd's progress, but actually put him in danger of physical harm. Mrs. Sordo seeks custody of Todd so that she can see he receives the treatment he so urgently requires.
All right, thank you, Mr. Enright. Miss Pauley, have you a statement, please?
Your Honor, Philip and Ann Sordo are not keeping their little boy from therapy for his autism. They're keeping him away from a program that is directly opposed to the therapy they've chosen for their child, an approach which behavioral scientists now believe may be the only way to effect a cure for this supposedly incurable condition. The type of school Renee Sordo is promoting would doom Todd to a lifetime of institutional care, whereas Philip and Ann believe they are now on a path which will enable their son to grow and learn normally. The court must leave Todd in the custody of his loving parents.
Thank you, Miss Pauley. Mr. Enright, present your first witness, please.
Mrs. Renee Sordo.
Very well, sir. Mrs. Sordo, let me remind you that you were sworn in a moment ago as this hearing began. And now as you testify, you are testifying under oath. Very well. Go ahead, Counselor.
Mrs. Sordo, you've been very close to Todd ever since he was born, haven't you?
Yes. Philip and Ann moved in with me after they got married. Unfortunately, Ann was already pregnant. Rather than interrupt their academic studies, we agreed that both she and Philip must continue at university after Todd was born. So I took over his care.
Why did you first suspect that something was wrong with Todd?
When Todd was about 6 months old, Nanny and I began to realize that, unlike most babies, Todd never responded or looked at you when you talked to him. He didn't care to be touched. He didn't make the usual baby sounds. His language skills were non-existent. His behavior erratic. He would fly into ferocious rages and just cry and cry and cry for no apparent reason.
When did you decide to seek therapy for him?
When Todd was about 2.5, his rages began to increase. He would bang his head on the crib, bruising himself terribly. and run into walls, hitting himself over and over. Nothing would make him stop. That was when I insisted he be taken to a specialist, a neurologist.
What did the neurologist say?
He told us that Todd had all the symptoms of autism. Of course, we were devastated. But when we heard that there was virtually no chance that he would ever be a functional member of society without extensive therapy, I decided to enroll him in Hollybrook, an excellent school for autistic children.
How long did Todd stay at Hollybrook?
Only for 3 sessions. Philip and Ann took Todd and moved out of the house. They're trying some far-out hippie-type therapy with no supervision, and I just live in terror that poor little Todd is going to hurt himself.
Thank you, Mrs. Sordo. I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Very well, sir. Will you cross-examine Miss Pauley?
Yes, Your Honor. Mrs. Sordo, didn't Philip and Ann object to Hollybrook on the grounds that it conflicted with the therapy they've chosen for Todd?
What therapy? All they do is stay home and play with him all day. They're throwing away their own lives, and they're certainly not helping Todd. Quite the opposite.
Mrs. Sordo, you fought Philip's decision to stay at home and work with Todd, didn't you?
He's a musician, not a psychologist. His career was guaranteed. He was going to be associate conductor of the Mid-City Symphony when he got his degree. He's throwing away his God-given talent and a beautiful career.
So the Hollybrook home solves all of your problems, Mrs. Sordo, not necessarily Todd's.
My problems?
With Todd safely tucked away in an institution, the family embarrassment is out of the picture, and your son, Philip, is free to fulfill the destiny you chose for him. Never mind that a little boy, also bearing the exalted name of Sordo, is left alone and lonely while your comfortable life goes on as usual. I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Very well, Counselor. You may step down, Mrs. Sordo. Thank you very much. Call your next witness, please, Mr. Enright.
I call Dr. Marcia Feldman, the director of the Hollybrook home.
Very well, sir.
I'm headed home, but this last accident victim I brought in, he's headed for trouble. He'll spend months recovering. And then there's the property damage, medical bills, and lost pay. Believe me, if you've been in an accident caused by someone else, don't take chances. Talk to a lawyer.
Call the law offices of Greenberg and Betterman at 589-2200. The first consultation is free. Call Greenberg and Betterman at 589-2200. They'll make sure you get everything you're entitled to under the law.
Looked for a job lately? Employers wanting experience only? Maybe it's time you looked into a career as a medical assistant at the National Education Center. This phone number is a good place to start. What are you waiting for? Stop drifting. Call for a brochure on careers in the medical field. Call 1-800-722-7337. 1-800-722-7337.
Exercise. Sometimes no matter how hard you work at it, there's still certain parts of your body that just don't seem to show improvement. Then maybe you should see a doctor about body contouring. It's modern medicine's way of getting rid of those love handles, of tightening up your chin and neck, taking inches off your thighs, or surrounding area.
For more information, call the Center for Cosmetic Surgery at 301-468-6147.
Look out, the window! Wow!
Oh, Marron. It's Phil Rizzuto and the money store. Loans as low as prime rate. Come on in, I'll tell you all about it. Now homeowners can get second mortgage loans with fixed rates as low as today's prime rate of 9%. You may get quick approval right over the phone.
That's good, huh?
It sure is. And ask about the Money Store-sponsored MasterCard. Call your local toll-free number, 1-800-221-9000.
Continue, Mr. Enright.
Thank you, Your Honor, Counselor. Dr. Feldman, how do you treat autism at Hollybrook?
Autism is not curable, so we can only deal with the symptoms. We use behavior therapy, which is based on the theories of operant conditioning, which allows for rewards for simple achievements.
How do you do that?
Well, for instance, Todd understands simple commands like look at me or give me a crayon. But the problem is Todd won't respond to them. So our therapist worked with Todd, and every time Todd responded and obeyed the command, listen to me, look at me, he was rewarded with a potato chip.
Does this work?
Oh, yes. Yes, indeed it does. Now, at one point, Todd became resistant and even had a temper tantrum. But our therapist just ignored that negative behavior and waited for Todd to begin to respond to her verbal commands again. I believe Todd has a good chance with therapy.
Thank you, Dr. Feldman. I have nothing further, Your Honor.
Ms. Pauley, will you cross-examine?
Yes, Your Honor. Dr. Feldman, forgive me, but I don't see how the therapy you described is any different from dog training. Isn't it true that your methods include aversive therapy?
That depends. We believe the best results are from reinforcing good behavior rather than punishing the bad.
Do you sometimes use electric shock as part of this therapy?
Only in extreme cases, and then never with little children. I mean, there are lots of other evasive methods with children. A drop of lemon juice on the tongue, or a pinch on the palm of the hand, appropriate measures for correcting behavior.
Dr. Feldman, the bottom line is Hollybrook doesn't cure anybody with autism, does it? No further question.
Very well. Thank you, Doctor. You may step down. Thank you very much. Mr. Enright, have you another witness?
No, Your Honor. The plaintiff rests.
Very well, sir. Ms. Pauley, will you present your first witness, please?
I call Mr. Roger Lindstrom.
Very well.
Philip, we've got to make them understand. Your mother sounded so sure that she was right.
That's her stock in trade. Don't worry.
All right, you may proceed, Ms. Pauley.
Mr. Lindstrom, how did you first meet Philip Sordo and his wife, Anne?
Philip was in one of my psychology classes at Ludlam. He confided in me about Todd's problems, and I suggested the program that they're currently using because I've seen it be effective with other autistic children, and I've seen that the progress can be amazingly effective.
Would you describe the basic concept of the program?
Therapists like Dr. Feldman categorize behavior as being either good or bad. The problem is when you categorize a behavior as being bad, you put a judgment of disapproval on the child.
So what's your approach?
We take the stance that accepting and approving of Todd right where he is the first and most important step we make in making contact with him.
Is this program of treatment considered unscientific?
Absolutely not. Many studies exist documenting its effectiveness. I am amazed and thrilled with the progress that we've made with Todd in just 10 short weeks.
Thank you, Mr. Lindstrom. No further questions.
Very well. Mr. Enright, cross-examine?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Lindstrom, you a practicing, licensed psychologist?
No, I'm a teacher of psychology.
Then you're still working on your PhD, aren't you?
That's correct.
And in fact, your doctoral dissertation is based on the very theories that the Sordos are using on Todd, isn't that right?
Yes, and I would like to
So you need the Sordos to complete the program with Todd in order to finish your dissertation.
I would finish it with or without them. The point is, the program is working. Last week, Todd almost smiled at me. Next week, who knows?
Who indeed? Fascinating material for your dissertation, Mr. Lindstrom, but it's hardly a landmark compared to the real progress Todd is making at Hollybrook. Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right. You may step down, Mr. Lindstrom. Thank you very much. Ms. Pauley, have you another witness?
Your Honor, I call Anne Sordo.
Very well.
We will return to the judge.
All the things that make a Baskin-Robbins ice cream cake the perfect Father's Day gift for Dad are also what make it such a great Father's Day gift for Mom and the kids. Baskin-Robbins ice cream cakes make Father's Day a day for everyone.
Look where Starkist is going.
Everywhere with our single-serving pull-top can. It's the perfect way to take delicious Starkist Prime Tuna Filet with you wherever you go. At work or play, travel light.
with Doc is...
In my profession, sometimes things can get a little rough.
Things get tough on your job, too. If you get hurt on the job or in any accident, call the law firm of Ashcraft and Jarrell.
This is where they work. For over 30 years, they've been handling cases involving workers' compensation, medical malpractice, defective products, auto accidents, and more. You can go it alone, or you can hand your problem over to a team of professionals. The decision's up to you.
Ashcraft and Jarrell, 783-6400.
So you're tired of sitting around waiting for something to happen in your life, and you're looking for a way to get up and go. Well, you can have a career and self-respect. It's as easy as it can be. There's only one thing that you need to know. All you gotta do is call PTC.
Call PTC today, 953-4666. That's 953-4666.
When I get a call from the wife of an alcoholic or a drug abuser, I just have to hear her voice and I can tell what she's going through. That's why when you call about someone you love, the first thing I do is listen. Then together, we can work out the next step. So please, call us. Right now. Pick up the phone.
Call Psychiatric Institute of Washington, D.C.
You may proceed, Counselor.
Anne, would you please tell us what it's like to be the mother of an autistic child?
It's very hard. That's the terrible thing about autism for a parent. You give and give without ever stopping, and you don't get anything back. No smiles, no cute little things to put in the baby book. It's heartbreaking. And it's frustrating. But Todd's frustrated too. And Philip and I have to help him, regardless of the sacrifices it means for us personally.
What is the program that you and your husband are providing for Todd's autism?
We maintain constant contact with Todd. When he's awake, we're with him. That's why Philip and I both had to quit school. We're living off of Philip's savings as well as we can. But we're with Todd 24 hours a day, and about 15 of those hours are spent working with him.
What do you do?
Well, since he won't look out into our world, we try to go into his by doing everything that he does. If he rocks back and forth, we do that too. And when he bounces his red ball up and down, we bounce the red ball with him. If he does this for hours and hours, so do we.
Have you seen results?
You know, I thought nothing was happening. I almost questioned our decision. Until about 3 weeks ago, when my ball rolled under the bed and Todd stopped and waited. And he looked me straight in the eye until I had retrieved my ball. And it was then that I knew that he was finally becoming aware, not just of me, but of the sharing that we were both striving for.
What else do you do?
Anything and everything that uses Todd's eyes or ears or tactile senses. We play games. I talk to him, sing. I touch him constantly. I hug him and kiss him. And everything that I do is at eye level. If I'm feeding him or dressing him, it's always maintaining eye contact.
What are your future plans for Todd?
Well, we believe that with this program, Todd can catch up to where he can go to a real school. And we won't stop until that happens. Your Honor, Todd needs our love to get well. Not potato chips given like some mechanical reward in a place where nobody cares about him.
Thank you, Mrs. Sordo. I have no further questions.
Very well. Mr. Enright, will you cross-examine?
Yes, Your Honor. Mrs. Sordo, do you and your husband have any training or background in psychology?
No.
Psychotherapy?
Well, no.
Neurology?
Well, no, but we have read everything we could get our hands on about Todd's condition. Plus, we have Roger Lindstrom and his expertise.
And isn't it true that Todd still can't or won't talk?
He is starting to use nonverbal communication.
But he was starting to form sounds at the end of his second session at Hollybrook, wasn't he?
That doesn't count. Autistic children often imitate sounds, but there's no meaning behind the sound.
Todd used to feed himself at Hollybrook, and now he's stopped doing that, hasn't he?
You don't understand. Your Honor, maybe you can. We're not trying to train Todd like they do at Hollybrook. We're trying to awaken him. I could very well teach him to put a spoon in his mouth like you teach a dog to fetch the paper. But we're trying to get him to want the food, to want the spoon. There is a difference.
Yes, I see your point, Mrs. Sordo.
So instead of the real progress that Todd was making at Hollybrook, this so-called progress that you claim that he's making under your unorthodox program is really the result of your unprofessional, subjective, and unscientific perceptions.
How scientific is love, Mr. Enright? Parents have their own kind of knowing about their children. I know when Todd is growing and when he isn't.
If that were true, Mrs. Sordo, every parent would be a successful child psychologist, and we both know that isn't the case. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Very well, thank you, Mrs. Sordo. You may step down now. Thank you very much. Do you have another witness, Miss Pauley?
Yes, Your Honor. I call Philip Sordo.
Very well.
How exhausted he looks. He's aged 10 years.
It's little wonder. He's trying to do the impossible.
Go ahead, Miss Pauley.
Philip, would you tell us how you feel Todd's reacting to being at home with you and Anne?
Well, I believe the best word is hopeful. Anne's told you how much more aware he seems. It's like when you look into his eyes, now he's there looking back at you. I really think Todd's gonna make it.
What made you decide to leave your mother's home so suddenly?
After we learned that Todd was autistic, we got a hold of every book, article, and medical journal we could and studied them. Then Roger told me about the new theories, and we were convinced. But Mother informed us that Todd would be going to Hollybrook. Anne and I said no. We had a terrible row, and we knew we had no choice but to get away.
Thank you, Philip. No further questions.
Mr. Enright, cross-examine.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Sordo, how do you manage to support your family if you spend full time with Todd?
I play piano at a nightclub.
You've dropped out of music school in your 4th year, abandoned a brilliant career as a conductor so that you can play hackneyed songs for sloppy drunks in a piano bar?
It's honest work, Mr. Enright. Todd's the one that matters most right now.
Well, what if the symphony won't keep that associate conductorship open for you?
Well, that's life. But that's real life, not some program that's designed for me.
You really do believe in luck, don't you? I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Very well, sir. You may step down, Mr. Sordo. Thank you very much. Miss Pauley, have you another witness?
No, Your Honor. The defense rests.
Very well. I'm calling a short recess to consider my decision.
Three guys, discount plumbing. Any pipe, any place, any price.
For clogs at their worst.
Oh, it's for you.
Liquid Plumber is the plumber to call first. No other drain opener cuts through standing water to clear out tough hair clogs better than Liquid Plumber. For hair clogs at their worst.
Who? Liquid Plumber?
Liquid Plumber is the plumber to call first.
Next time on The Judge.
It's the fact that I don't want anybody else to die because of RD 1238.
Mommy, it hurts!
Mediquick is the quickest way I know to treat minor cuts, scrapes, and scratches. Mediquick protects against infection and helps heal the hurt. And for extra protection, Mediquick antibiotic ointment.
Someone has done something new for minor arthritis pain and its stiffness with more medicine than regular Bengay. Introducing new extra strength arthritis formula from Mentholatum Deep Heating.
I found a product I really like, and I want to tell you about it. It's Softkin.
the personal cleansing wipe from Scott. You use them with your bathroom tissue. Softgins are pre-moistened, so they cleanse you better, which is especially important if you're irritated or chafed or if you itch. And because they're pre-moistened, they feel better. You know, more comfortable. Try Softgins.
Softgins, personal cleansing made comfortable.
Thinking about a career in business but don't know how to get started? The National Education Center is offering a brand new program specially designed to prepare you to become a management trainee, working in banks, investment firms, insurance companies, and retail chains. Whether it's hometown or downtown, we'll teach you to make business your business without spending 4 years in college. For a brochure on career training in business, call 1-800-722-7337, 722-7337.
Got a different kind of face. Oh yeah, a different kind of smile.
No matter how different you are, Pearl has a frame to fit your style. And now you can save $25 and more on a complete pair of glasses from designers such as Halston, Carrera, Christian Dior, and more.
I got a different kind of style.
Just write your own coupon or look for our coupon in TV Guide or Reader's Digest.
Triamcinolone, serious allergy medicine that works even on your worst days. No wonder allergy sufferers trust Triamcinolone year after year.
Get hours of penetrating heat relief for minor arthritis pain and stiffness with Mentholatum Deep Heating Rub, lotion, and new extra strength arthritis formula. Swirl On Mark II, adjustable gear-driven brush with Jet Blaster high-pressure sprayer. Extends over 6 feet for cars, trucks, boats, and homes. Swirl On.
The issue here today has been whether or not Todd is being denied treatment that is in his best interest. I'm aware that different methods for dealing with autism are controversial at best, and that no form of treatment is guaranteed to produce a cure. Therefore, I'm not at all inclined to favor the program at Hollybrook over any other program. As a matter of fact, what I really favor, wherever possible, is the love and support and warmth and unity that only a family can offer. And in this case, Philip and Ann, I believe strongly that you're making a real demonstration of love and of sacrifice, too. And I pray it'll be a help to your son. I believe that it will, so I'm leaving Todd in your custody to pursue that program. Now, Mrs. Sordo, in denying your petition, I also took into account your sincere concern for your grandson. I hope you'll be open now to your son's and daughter-in-law's feelings, and that you'll give them your full love and your real moral support. You could be of inestimable help to them now when it's truly needed. In 6 months, I'd like to see all of you again in here for a progress report. I have a feeling you'll have some more good news for us. So, for your own sakes, as well as for Todd's sake, keep on being good to each other. That's all. This court stands adjourned.
Morning, I'm Meredith Fuel in the Channel 7 newsroom, and here's what we're working on for News 7 at noon. District Police say syndicated columnist Carl Rowan shot and wounded a teenager this morning who was using a swimming pool at his Northwest Washington home. We'll have details. And we'll take a closer look at that controversial cigarette trial verdict in New Jersey. Anti-smoking forces are claiming victory. However, industry officials say they've snuffed out the threat of future lawsuits. I'm Meredith Fuel. Join me for these stories plus Stu Kerr's weather coming up at noon.